Ayo, adofo ye mamo akwaba ediba fu ediba Obra TV so na yes so edam asese maka ye ho ede na ye de time to feel good bremo dwumadie dwumadie sonko a ye fa nneoma hodo na ye ka ho asem ama asetena ye tena ye betimi atena asetena pa, because if you don't feel good and nothing else matters in life, right? And you know, ye pese ye make sure say enoma hodo a ye de bremu nyina ye enoma e di mpuntu ebeba obremu. Enti ne senti ene ye to yensa afre okuni bi ne defo bi a obeba beboa ye on how to make sure that we are prospering in life. Sebio asitina munos we ndi ya eya na asitina na enye ode. And you know, we're going to talk about wealth creation. Wealth creation. And I would like to introduce Dr. Felix Quayson. Now, I'm becoming home and then now you desire a. So, Dr. Quayson, that was say and then what about your home anyway.
Thank you so much, Dr. Philgood. It's always good to be on TV with you. You know?
With Dr. Quayson, and because of our time, we're not going to do extensive introduction and all that. Trust me, Dr. Quayson, I am on Penisa. Yeah, but I don't have more time, no, they will ask about himself, right? Doc, when we talk about wealth creation, usually our mind goes to physical wealth and what we can amass on earth and all of that. Tell us about wealth creation.
So
perspective on it.
Right. So wealth. So when we talk about the steps of prosperity, the steps of prosperity can also be included in prosperity of wealth. It can also be prosperity of health. It can also be prosperity of management, time management. So it has different varieties of the steps to prosperities. But today, what we are going to really discuss here is the prosperity of spiritual things and how you can manifest the spiritual things with the physical. So because whatever is manifested physically is also manifested for spiritually. So that's one thing that we have to put in mind. So when we talk about the word prosperity, is a noun, right? The word prosperous, which describes prosperity, or which describes a person who is of prosperity, good fortune, is an adjective. Okay, so like I said, prosperity can relate to a lot of things. So the prosperity deals with individual good fortune, all right, thriving, flourishing, and it can also deal with the weight and social status deemed in people's eyes as you are the person who are so successful, you are so prosperous that the Lord blessings are upon you. And then the word prosperity, like I said before, can deal with prosperity of spirit, prosperity of favor, prosperity of success. It can also deal with prosperity of health. It can also deal with prosperity of wealth. Okay. So now let's talk about the steps to prosperity that we can share today with our loved ones so that we can have favor of good fortune and individual flourishing, which will be backed up with biblical content and my own personal observation as an individual who was also brought up in the church and my personal walk with God.
All right. So now for today, now we're going to talk more about prosperity and spirituality, right? Because the BMU no else and ways by which we have to prosper. And so the notion say, oh, Christopher, dear, let's move away from that a little bit. Right?
Exactly, because whatever is manifested physically is also manifested spiritually. So we want to understand the nature of the spiritual prosperity before we can move into the physical prosperity. Maybe next time that we meet, we can do a wealth, physical money management wealth when it comes to that, another step of prosperity.
All right. So take us into the spiritual prosperity. How do we acquire that?
Absolutely. That's a good question, Dr. Feelgood. So the spiritual prosperity, like I'll repeat it again, because I know a lot of people don't tend to hit on that. Whatever is made physical is also manifested spiritually. Okay. So in life, in order for an individual to flourish, to have good fortune, to have favor, okay, to be prosperous, the first step that we will talk about today is having a secret place to experience worship.
That's deep.
I
That's
will
deep.
repeat that again.
What has that got to do with me getting though? So
I will tell you. I will tell
right.
you because if you look in the Bible, and like I said, I will back it up with biblical content. If you look in the Bible, every person of good fortune and of good favor had a secret place to experience worship with God.
Mm, okay.
So if you look at the different prosperity that today we are living,
Mm,
the things that a lot of people are missing today is that we don't have a secret place to worship God. Now, the reason why I say secret place in the Bible, the place where people stood and wrestled with God and angels, and the
mm-hmm,
place where God blessed them, they
mm-hmm,
used that place as a temple,
mm,
as
mm,
a synagogue.
One comes to mind
Okay.
right away. One comes to mind right away, but I'll let you go for it. I'm very sure say they made you in the order into them.
The prosperity. So now, if you look at the example that Jesus Christ gave,
Mm-hmm,
Jesus Christ, whenever he will gather with people, he will
mm,
slip away to his
mm-hmm,
secret place to speak to God.
mm, right.
Whenever the disciples were sleeping,
Mm-hmm,
Jesus Christ would slip away to the woods to pray for
mm,
more spiritual divine protection for his life. Okay.
right.
And when we talk about a secret place, David had a secret place. So David, King
Mm-hmm,
David, was a secret worshiper
mm,
when he was a kid. You know, his brothers said, "Oh, go take care of the animals in the barn." And whenever he would go to the to the barn to take care of the animals, he would worship God. That was his
mm-hmm,
secret place.
mm,
And God looked upon him and gave him blessings and favor and good fortune. Okay. Now,
okay.
Abraham had a secret place that he
Just a
worshiped God.
question. Hold on. Let me emphasize something here. So,
Yeah.
because he always had a secret place to meet God, and he had favor. That is one. But good.
Yes. Good fortune. Yes.
And only get it.
Yeah. The money.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Money, money,
So,
money.
so having that relationship with God, apart from you having favor before God and having the spiritual inclination with God and all that, it also comes with a good fortune.
Absolutely. Because even
Okay.
Jesus
All
Christ
right.
said, whatever you do, whatever you do with your right hand, don't let your left
Mm-hmm,
hand seize it.
mm-hmm,
Okay. And he said, people who have time and worship my Father in secret
mm-hmm,
and faithfulness,
mm-hmm.
those are the people that my Father will bless. So this is not rocket scientist. This is not a publication that we have to go look scientifically for it. Jesus
Right.
Christ gave it to us in the Bible. So
Plain and
having a
simple.
secret place, because most of us don't have a secret place, it's the reason why we don't know who to run to when we are in trouble.
Mm. Okay.
Because we don't have a secret place to worship, we always run to our friends who, most of the time secretly hate us. They don't want to tell us. But if
Mm.
we knew that we had a secret place, then we will run to the God in our secret place, and worship him. And then he will deliver us.
Okay. All right. All right. So now we've established the essence of having a secret place. What's next?
The next step is having respect for God and yourself.
Mm.
Now, the reason why I say having
Okay.
respect for God and yourself, now let me go back to the secret place a little bit. When Jesus Christ wanted to transfigure himself to the divine nature, he took few of his disciples. He didn't take all of them. He
Mm-hmm.
only took few to his secret place to transform himself. Okay.
Mm.
Now, Jesus Christ also had respect for God And part of the respect that he had for God was not publicly praising or praying to God. He prayed to God secretly. Okay. Now, a lot of people, I would say this, a lot of us don't have respect or neglect for God. And that's why we are having so much trouble. Now, when we allow ourselves to respect God and to also have respect for ourselves, we will know the true and we will experience the true prosperity that Deuteronomy that God gave it to the Israelites, or God gave it to Moses to tell the Israelites that if you follow my command and my precepts, this is what will happen to you. But if you don't, these are the curses that will happen to you.
Mm.
And so everything is all in the Bible. Now,
I feel like saying preach.
so many people are in crazy situations right now, okay? Because we haven't allowed ourselves to respect ourselves and to respect the divine nature of God. Okay. And speaking of respect, the respect that you give to God determines your individual flourishing and the state of you being prosperous.
Okay. So,
Okay.
like what man now, so if you don't give
Absolutely.
more of respect, then you're not going to get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
So having respect for God too includes having respect for your wife, for your sons, for your daughters, okay, for your parents, for believers and non-believers, because they were all created
by God.
So God.
Okay.
Right. So having respect doesn't mean, oh, I'm only going to respect God. That's what I say. You have to respect God and you have to respect yourself. So having respect for God means you have respect for God's creatures and the ones that God has bestowed upon you to be the protector, the provider. Now, if you look at a lot of families, a lot of marital problems happen or happens to individuals because of their lack of respect for the things that God has bestowed upon them. Okay.
That's deep. That's deep. And then some the Cassia Pekini Nasi Remu. And super but want to talk about the steps to prosperity, and we're talking about the spiritual aspect today. And even with the spiritual aspect, you be bosso, but your person would trust now dream when no money sinking in, and we're not going to get into all the fine details. So, Dr. Quayson, take us on. So, at this point, you have the respect for God. What is next? How do I prosper?
Right. So we have having a secret place to worship with God,
Right.
and we have having respect for God and yourself. Now, the third step that we have to look into what makes a person prosperous is time management.
Time is money.
Time is money. You hear it
Okay.
all the time. The reason why you go to work for someone, it's not because of the money, it's because of the time. They need your time. They need your talent.
Right.
And time comes with talent. God has bestowed upon everyone, whether you are a believer or non-believer. He has given us time. Even animals, he has given them time to be born and a time to die. And that's what the biblical example tells us, that man has been created and appointed a time to die. Okay. So time management also determines a way of you to be prosperous. And I'm going to give you the time that you wake up to pray.
Okay. Also come on.
Absolutely. Now, in the spiritual realm, a lot of things happen between 3 o'clock, 3:30 to 4 o'clock, 4:30
a.m. That's a hard than I do.
That's what the Bible said. That's what the Bible said. The Spirit, that's what Jesus Christ said. When he came back and found his disciples sleeping, he said, well, you guys didn't even wait for me or pray for me. And he said the body he said the body is weak, but the spirit is willing.
Willing.
Right? So the spirit is always there. The spirit is willing. But the body is weak, so we have to control our body. That's basically what he was trying to tell the disciples.
So, Dr. Quayson, doesn't mean that we have to really give up what we really love to get what we really need. Because as I said, it's 3 to 4 a.m. and none no one. What if you so tired as already above 4 now? So for you to give up that time to go to your Lord in prayer because you want to be prosperous and all of that, I can see it though, because when Lucy at the pa, unya the papa, right? So I can definitely see that. But
so the time that you wake up, because if you don't wake up in the midnight to pray for your prosperity, that means you don't have a secret place to worship God. Because that's the time that you can communicate with God spiritually. Because the spiritual beings are already at work. And for you,
this is my love. No? I want to my love, man. That's
fine. That's fine. But we have to be careful now. The mistake that a lot of us do is we eat before we go to sleep.
Oh,
yeah, we have to be very careful. We eat, and then right after eating, we go to sleep. We go to dinner at the wrong timing, like maybe 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then 11 o'clock, we were knocked out sleeping. We have to be very careful, because when you eat that close to your bedtime, you really don't have, your body becomes very weak, and you don't have the time to really get up to pray to you.
Digestion and all of that.
Absolutely. And also the time that you spent, doing unnecessary things, like let's say a husband insults his wife, and wife insults her husband, and parents insults their sons and daughters and in-laws and non-believers, and we all do that. Believers, the time that we spent to do unnecessary things will also backtrack us, away from our secret place of experiencing worship with the divine nature of God. So the time that we spent to gossip, create problems for yourself spiritually, it does. And also it creates problems for others that guarantee you are not being you are not being prosperous in all your ways. Because if you can have time to really gossip about someone, that shows that you really don't have time to really worship God in your secret.
Right. And really, when you also don't have that time with God, and they're using the time to also gossip, then how are you going to prosper?
How are you going to prosper? That's
right, because that is the time. No, it's the same 24 hours, right?
Absolutely.
Spending time with God in the secret prayer, listening to Him, getting the feedback, and then moving on what God has told him to do.
Yes. Yeah, because it's so true. Because a lot of times God, it says in the Bible, He said, "I will give the young people what? Dreams of dreams."
Yeah, visions. Yeah,
and visions. Because sometimes God, in today's society or in today's times, God are speaking to us young people through dreams and visions. Because we miss our dreams and vision to food and to not having a secret place to worship God and experience God, and not having respect for ourselves. So we don't have, the fortitude to really look into what God has given. Someone can dream. God can give a person a vision. Because the person is not strong spiritually, when the person wake up, the dream is all gone. They can't even remember the dream.
Right.
Okay? So this is all the exactly.
You have a lot of people who also interpret the dream without you telling them.
Exactly.
I think that point has been made.
Yeah.
So now that we've established these 3 points, are there any other things that we got to do to?
Oh, absolutely. Now let's talk about the colors of the clothing. I know. Look at you. The way you're looking at me.
I mention the color.
Oh my! You you wear white or blue, right? White and blue. Is it
stripe purple view?
Same here. Same here. Look at me. See, we didn't even know.
Oh, okay. I just gotta make sure my color is right.
So let's talk about the colors of clothing you wore on the day. On the day that you were born.
Oh,
and I mean, I don't mean Okrada. So I don't mean that you were born August 5th, 1960. So that's the day that you don't need to wear certain clothes. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm specifically saying is on August 5th, it has to be a day like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. In the Akan culture in Ghana, we give the specific name to a person on the day that they were born. So someone can be like Kwame, someone can be Akwesi, Sunday born. Kwame, I don't even know. Was it Monday? No, Kwame is Saturday. See? It's Saturday. And then Yao is Thursday, right?
Right.
Yao is Thursday. So we give those names, right? And then on that specific day, because of the day that you were bound to this planet and its spiritual things, because of the day that you were born, you have to avoid wearing certain colors. And on a regular day, the colors that you wear also attracts spiritual beings that are evil and that are good, depending on the colors that you wear. It's like when you are lost and you see a person by the roadside, the person is wearing a suit, such as the person is wearing a white shirt and suit. You would think, oh, this person's a gentleman. Let me get closer to the person and ask. But when you see a person wearing all black, right, or wearing exactly, you'd be afraid. You'd be like, oh no, I don't. Okay. This person is probably evil, probably waiting to kill someone, right? Right. So the things that we wear also creates a mood of energy in our spiritual walk and the steps for us to be prosperous. If you know how to avoid these and know what colors to wear, your step to prosperity will be much stronger and you will live a good fortune life. So let me give you some of the colors.
Right, because I'm still looking at my colors. So
that's what you look at.
I bet both of our viewers are also like Master William maintained that. I've never so this is way over my head. That is why you can see from my face that I'm looking like what?
We're learning today, like I said.
Right.
If you look in the world, if you look at God's creation, God is a masterpiece, and He created everything with color. He did. The universe, the galaxies, planet Earth. If you go out of space, you see planet Earth reflects blue and green and whatever. If you look at the sky, you see the sky reflects what? Blue. But if you really go in the sky is really not blue. you get a whole water. Water has color. Gemstones. Every natural mineral that God created on this planet has color to it. And even in the Bible, God said, He would give the righteous people crown. Crown is made of a color. He would give them robe. Robe is made of a color. Whether it can be red, blue, green, nobody knows.
White, whatever.
White, exactly. But the things that God was saying, or God revealed to the prophets to really give it to us, has all colors connected. The white horse in Revelation. Why would God use that? The black horse. If you go to God's presence, you have in heaven, according to Revelation, they have the sea of glass. The sea of glass. Why did God use the sea of glass, or the prophet use the sea of glass too? And when God, when the Son of Man revealed Himself to what was it, John, the Revelation? He said, "I saw Him and his hair was as white as what? As the wool, right?
Oh.
Or as and his eyes were flaming, and
Mhm.
his feet what browns, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So and he was wearing what? And he shined, his brightness. So everything has color to it. Gold has color to it. Money has color to it. Dollar, right? Green,
Mhm.
money has color to it, right? Silver has color to it. So everything on this planet and in heaven and everything God ever created. Look at animals, fish, you name it all. The list can go on and on and on.
Mhm.
Everything has colors attached to it. So when I experienced this myself and I said, so that means color must be a big thing in the spiritual realm with our walk with God. So if you look at the way the Bible describes Lucifer, right, who later on is the Satan, right,
Mhm.
you'll see how the Bible describes him as an angel of perfect, brightness, right? All of it is
Mhm.
color. And then because that he's Satan doesn't mean that he doesn't have, he has all carried creatures. No, he's still beautiful,
Mhm.
but his
Yeah.
agenda
Yeah.
is different, right?
Right.
His agenda is different. So
Mhm.
now let's look at some of the colors, like I said. Okay, the color that I'm not talking about for all those racist people out there, I'm not talking about skin color. Okay, so let me
Yeah. Let's make that clear.
treat that clear before someone say, "Oh,
Right.
I'm white, so yeah, I'm perfect. I'm black, so I'm this." No, I'm not
Right.
talking about skin color. Okay, don't push me there. So the things that I'll talk about is right. So let's talk about some of the colors. So the color white, right? The color white.
Mhm.
When a person wears that, it attracts the spiritual aura of divine consciousness, of
Mhm.
transformation, right? Divine
Mhm.
transformation, and it also have with divine energy, consciousness, and positivity, right? That's what the color white is associated with. So that's the color white is a good thing, but you have to know what your day, the day that you were born,
Mhm.
specific colors not to wear. Maybe that would be another lesson that we can do. Okay, because
Right.
that
Right.
time. Now let's talk about the color yellow. Right, the color yellow is very positive. It's most positive.
It
The
brighter.
color, absolutely, the color green, like fresh green, like the grass or fresh green
Right. It
color.
brings life.
Absolutely, and the spiritual aura, the positive
Mhm.
spiritual. Now, pink also is positive, and orange is positive. Now, let's talk about some of the spiritual predominance of some of the bad colors. Okay, now we have black. Black can represent degeneration, defamation, and all that. Gray is also not a positive in the spiritual realms. That's what I mean. Brown, violet, and purple, all associated with some form of medium. Nah, yours is not purple. It's blue.
I just like it.
Also are associated with some form of medium to negative, spiritual aura, like a predominance of spiritual aura. So that one is very important. Okay, very important. So demons are attracted to some people because of the things that they wear,
Oh wow.
because of the color of the things that they wear.
Wow.
Now, if you look at people that practice, demonism and all of that, and occultism and all of that,
Mhm.
if you look at the things that they do, they have to wear certain things. They have to not take shower
Yeah.
for
Mm.
X amount of days. Okay, and they have to practice saying certain words.
Mhm.
Okay, and be in a dark place with no light. Think about it. No light. Light is color, right? No light.
Right. Right.
Okay? And chant certain words. So these are the things that if you really want to be demonic, they call it the spirits comes. The reason why the spirit come is because the spirit is attracted to that
Right.
things that they are doing. So that's what the spirit is like. I'm being called here. Right. This is my playground. Yeah, I'm very happy. You
We're talking
know.
about steps to prosperity. Therefore, where influence how prosperous you be. And
Yes.
this is some deep explanation right here. This is
Telling you.
deep explanation.
and it also it also comes with financial distraction. Colors, the colors that we wear in our homes, the colors that we have in our homes, also have financial distractions. You know, a lot of people are going through hardship within their family because of the things that they have at home, because of the things that they wear on
Yeah.
the day they were born.
Listen to this and go change the colors in your house immediately. Because if not, that's why it's not a grandparents being a year or in no.
Everything,
It's
see,
all
everything God has given to us, everything He has given to us is natural. Why do you think, a person who wants to, kill someone or to get money, or in Ghana, what do you call it? The Yahoo boys?
Juju and I say Mugu
Yeah,
boys, right?
exactly. So they have certain things that, when they go to the place where they have to sacrifice someone,
Mm-hmm.
you know, even if they one part of their body is deformed or they are wearing a certain color,
Mm-hmm.
the person that is performing the practice would say, hey, the demons can't come because of the things that you are wearing. Take it off.
Mm.
The demons can't come because you have something at home that is really distracting them. All of this because the spiritual realms use that. Demons
Right,
use that. It's just
right.
like a principle God has given us. If we really take time and look at it, for our blessings and for our curses. If you want to be cursed, I mean, I don't think anyone want to be cursed. We all want to be blessed, right? That's what we
Absolutely.
are learning today.
All
So
right.
the things that I would say. So be careful of the things that you put on your children because it attracts certain energy to them.
Mm.
That make them the way that they are. Be careful of the things that you have at home. Be careful of the things that you put on. Be careful of the things that you bring to your house because it will distract you financially. It will make you broke, poor, and all the above.
Oh, okay. All right. So wow, this is some deep stuff. This some of it is just in my head, man. But these are some of the conversations that we gotta have. These are some of the things we really have to learn about. Uh
Absolutely.
Doctor, I just realized we actually gone past time. But
Oh wow.
watching it. So we will give you the opportunity to wrap up on today's. Viewers,
So
this is a 30 minutes program. We try to be short and succinct so that we can have the juice in it. But as it gets more interesting and all of that, we
I know. Let me say
do
one more thing, Dr. Philgood. Let
right.
me say one more. Let me give you one more step, which I think is very important, and then we can end, right?
Okay.
So the fifth step that we will talk about on your way to prosperity is fasting and praying.
Mm,
In the Bible, Jesus Christ, when the disciples wanted to pray and drive out demons out of people, you know, they couldn't do it. And when the
mhm,
person was brought to Jesus, Jesus was able
mhm,
to do it, right?
mhm,
Obviously, Jesus was fasting lots of the time, and they weren't. So they asked the disciples asked Jesus, "How come we weren't able to do it?
right.
Because we know you, we follow you. You are friends. How come we weren't?" And then Jesus Christ said to them, "This kind
Mm-hmm.
doesn't go away easily."
Mm, mm,
Now
mm,
think about that. You can be a Christian, you can pray, you can do all of that, but if
mhm.
you are not really truly have a goal for your fasting and praying, your kind will never go away. So your kind can make you fruitless, childless, the kind that make you poor. We all have the kind that doesn't go easily. The kind that makes us broke, incompetent to lead your family. The kind that people have planned for your downfall. The kind that people use to gossip about you. The kind that make you beat your wife or husband or children. The kind that make you heartless, hateful, mean, judgmental, jealousy. The kind that make you a slave to sin. It will not go away easily. It will never go away easily unless you fast and you pray
And
your way out in your secret place with God. That's your way to
no, no
prosperity.
prosperity.
So the kind that you are dealing with, you know, you have to be very careful. It can make you baseless and faithless in your spiritual and physical walk on this planet. So when you fast and pray, you must have an agenda and purpose to allow yourself to recognize God as the only spiritual being that can really eliminate your kind that you are dealing with. The the kind of things that have stopped your physical and spiritual growth to the path or your state of being truly prospered and prosperity. So that's what I will add.
Man, viewers, I want to thank you all who were able to join us for the live program. It's also going to be on Facebook. So if you happen to watch it later, thank you very much for watching it. This is some deep, deep stuff. We always want to chase the money, but we don't
I didn't mean to scare everybody.
we don't tend to do what we have to do to be able to get to the prosperity that we need, right? So it is very important that we take care of the basics. Then we can get into the physical part. And the basics is the spiritual part. So once the spirituality is good, then of course the physical parts can also follow. So for the sake of time, we're going to draw the curtains here. But we'll get Dr. Quayson back now to tell us also, apart from spirituality, when you see I have a quiet time, I've changed my alarm. I wake up at 3 o'clock and then pray and all of that. So physically, what can I also do to make some money, right? So we're going to talk about wealth creation also. So these are some of the steps. We're done with the first part, which is the 5 steps, more spiritual based. Let's talk about physical also, right? Because we can take care of the spiritual needs as well as the physical needs. Right? We got to get to that too. So for those of you who are able to join us, Solomon Opon, thank you very much. Daniel, Julie, Frederick Aqua, Solomon, and everybody else that was Mr. Edbofo. Thank you for joining us live. If you're also watching later on, thank you very much for watching it. Please make time with us next week. Same time, same place, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 9:30 p.m. GMT, and then 10:30 p.m. if you're in the UK. If you're also on the Central Time, it's 4:30, and if you're also on any other time, do the math. So thank you very much, Dr. Quayson, for being with us today. We'll also come your way next week.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Phil. Take care.